what does Biafra mean?
It means freedom, liberty, fairness, equity, and justice.
In practical terms, these are very good sounding words, but in practical terms, what does Biafra mean?
Confederation.
So, a weak center,
Very weak.
very strong regions.
Absolutely.
Have you had a change of mind, therefore, about getting an independent Biafra? Because that's what I seem to be hearing.
No, I've not changed my mind, no. And even Biafra means going back to where we were before the white man came.
Now, is there anything that can happen that will make you change your mind about this particular direction?
No.
So it is either Biafra or nothing else.
Or death. Yes.
Or death.
That's correct.
Some of you will be very surprised to know why a lot of people are following Nnamdi Kanu. What is this leadership attribute that he possesses that is very, very extraordinary to be compared to every single Igbo leader in Igbo land? Why is he being taken as the leader of Igbo nation? It is very simple. I will just tell you that it's because Kanu goes straight to the point, protect his people, protect Igbo nation, the culture, the heritage, and everything that concerns the well-being of Igbo nation in general. It doesn't matter the name you call him, but he is the only Igbo man that was able to sacrifice all his greed, the possible human greed in every man. He sacrificed virtually everything: good life, luxury, and all sorts, political position. He sacrificed vehemently everything for the Igbo, and this is why the Igbo people take him as the only leader with substance. And this, a lot of politicians are not even trying to do in iota. So to Kanu, to a lot of people following him, they see him as a messiah of Igbo land. They see him as this pillar to actually bestow on. So when you see a lot of Igbo people trooping support, rooting for Kanu in any way, in any condition, it shouldn't be a surprise. It shouldn't be that, it shouldn't be that complex. It doesn't really matter if he's occupying any political position in Igbo land. He does the things that most Igbo leaders would not even think of. So this time, Kanu pushed for the lawsuits, against Reno Omokri over the formation of Igbo nation. And a lot of people may not even see reasons to why he did so. A lot of people will criticize that Reno Omokri doesn't mount to be given such traction concerning the Igbo nation, but it is very important for things to be addressed. If you are an Igbo man and you've been seeing the things that Reno Omokri have been saying, all manner of things he has actually published on his handles about the Igbo people, you will see to the reason why there's need for these certain actions. Reno is coming for the Igbos bad for bad, and it shouldn't be given a silence to, because there's time for everything. He should cease from talking ill about Igbo people. The way he tries to define our culture for us is what I see reasons for actions to be taken. He started doing this long ago, but everybody kept quiet. There should be this projection of fear that would make him to never do it again. And this is what we don't have in Igbo land. And that space Nnamdi Kanu has actually occupied. In Yoruba land, we have sort of people who speak for their people, even in terms of good or bad. They protect them. In Hausa land, in Fulani land, there are various actors that do all of those things. So this time around, the news after that, Kanu decided to slam Reno Omokri 60 billion lawsuit. So it is important that every definition of Igbo nation should be addressed, even if it is coming from an Igbo man. If you say it the way it is not, it is ought to be addressed. To some people that would want to give a question to Nnamdi Kanu's quest to why he's actually agitating. Mind you, Kanu started talking about the marginalization of Igbo. He started talking about, he started standing for Igbo people entirely. He started, kicking against bad governance. He even held meetings with a couple of Igbo political leaders at the time he started. And what was his words? It was just simple. I need the seaport to be functional. There should be a functional hospital. There should be a functional education. Education should be standard to an extent. There should be government-oriented policy that would reflect to the life of the people. These are the demands of Nnamdi Kanu. And when you look at this, you would ask yourself as an Igbo man, those of you that are kicking against whatever he stands for, I'm not saying that you should succumb to whatever Nnamdi Kanu says, his ideology, his approach. You might have problems with that. But ask yourself, the key points of Kanu's demands, are they not something that he, if not for any other thing, needs your support in any way? It is a basic question that a lot of people is actually shining away from. What brought Nnamdi Kanu? If schools were all standard, hospitals were all working, there are foods for people to eat, people are not suffering to all this hardship that was seen today, and all manner of evil treatment, marginalization, slaughtering of our heritage, slaughtering of our gain, our national gain, not because of all of those things, would there be the personality of Nnamdi Kanu today? And his crime is that he asked those questions that nobody, no politician could come out to ask. And you stand there and tell me that he's not a man of the people. I doubt you. Fast forward to addressing Reno Omokri. Ndị Igbo bany na-ekene onye ọbụla. As an Igbo man, one of the people who have contributed immensely to the growth, resilience, and unity of Nigeria, I view this lawsuit not just as a legal action, but a cultural declaration. It is a bold move by Nnamdi Kanu, not merely to defend himself as an individual, but to defend the collective image of Ndi Igbo, where we are too often stereotyped, misrepresented, and insulted. When they insult one of us, they insult us all. For decades now, the Igbo people have endured subtle and not so subtle jabs from Nigerian national discourse, from being labeled as money lovers to being portrayed as over ambitions. The narrative has often been twisted to make our resilience look like greed, our enterprise look like desperation, and our unity look like tribalism. So when Reno Omokri, a public figure, global reach, made those comments suggesting that Igbos love money more than the integrity, and implying that our support for P2B was driven by ethnic desperation, it was not just about Kanu or IPOB. It was about me, my father, my people, and my ancestors. Those were deeply derogatory remarks, cloaked in political rhetoric, but in ethnic context. It is a symbolic saying. We are not the second-class citizen you can insult and walk away from. You will pay, if not with jail, then with financial restitution and national apology. Far too long, his speech against Igbos has gone unchecked. People joke with our pain, mock our history, and downplay our sacrifices. But this lawsuit is different. It is structured, strategic, and deliberate. It sends a strong message to every Reno out there. Your platform is not bigger than our identity. It surprised me to see the incident of Lagos during the 2023 general election. And up to today, nobody has come out to talk about it. No one, no political figure from Igbo land have actually condemned this. And this is the leadership attribute, like I cited, that people see in Nnamdi Kanu. One of the most dangerous things Reno did was to continuously equate IPOB's philosophy, the ideology, with the entire Igbo, or should I say the culture of Igbo people. That is an intellectual insult. Whether you support IPOB or not, the Igbo people are not a monolith. We are a rich tapestry of ideas, beliefs, and political leanings. You cannot insult us or just because you disagree with the political pathway of one faction. By making such broad statements, Reno deliberately blurred the lines between activism and identity, critique and concept, and that is where his words became more than mere opinion. They became defamation. Imagine if someone made such statement about the Yoruba or the Hausa people. Imagine where, just like somebody rightly said the other day during an interview, that should be Kanu to conquer. He inserted that P2B being stopped into entering Edo State is just for the fact that he's an Igbo man. That it cannot be the same case if P2B was a man from Yoruba land or any part of northern Nigeria. There will be national outrage. But when it's about the Igbos, it is often passes as free speech or political commentary. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. This lawsuit is saying you will not sit behind a keyboard in London and generalize 40 million people with insult. We will see you in court. We must start holding public figures accountable for normalizing ethnic bias. If not for ourselves, then for the younger generation growing up in this country, must know that being Igbo is not something to defend. It is something to be proud of. Whether you agree with Nnamdi Kanu politically or not, on this particular matter, he is doing what our political leaders have failed to do for years and stand up for Igbo unapologetically. So the so-called Igbo elites have often remained silent while others mock our name, call us criminals, reduce our sons to traders and our daughters to opportunists. I mean, go to Reno's various platforms. That is unacceptable. But Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is actually drawing a line. You cannot defame us and expect silence. When a man consents, his God consents as well. And the God of Igbo people does not consent for this consistent defamation from Reno Omokri. Our silence is no longer wisdom. It is complicity. And now, through this 60 billion legal action, we are responding with dignity, intellect, and the law. To Reno Omokri and anyone else who thinks they can reduce our people to joke, take notice. Ndị Igbo have risen, not with weapons, not with protests, but with documents, courts, and justice. This is not just a case, it is a cultural turning point. Like I said before, this lawsuit is not just about Nnamdi Kanu. It is about every Igbo man and woman who have been insulted, ignored, misrepresented in Nigerian narrative. It is a message to every commentator, every influencer, every politician. We are not the punching bag of the federation. We are not the easy target for lazy opinions and reckless statements. I mean, in law, in politics, and in media, and in justice, whether you support IPOB or not, whether you like Kanu or not, one thing must be clear: we must all rise when our name is being dragged. Because if we don't defend our identity, we leave it to be redefined by those who hate us. So to Reno Omokri and all who think the Igbo image is disposable, we are not begging, we are not protesting, we are suing, and the world is watching. Call to action. If you stand for dignity, for truth, and for justice for Ndị Igbo, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and share this message across every platform. Igbo gade and Igbo gadri. Igbo adigo. What is the situation of today's Nigeria? Neba anbiko. Basa no ofma. Go we ruten. Thank you so much for your amazing audience.